said, "The way to heaven is to take no action." Within Effortless Living, Jason Gregory eloquently explores the nature of Taoism and the concept of Wu-Wei from the position of somebody who has truly walked the path. This is a great relief to me, as I have grown tired of reading book after book written by pure Taoist theorists who butcher the tradition and in particular the nature of Wu-Wei through analysis from a position of pure intellect. It was like a breath of fresh air to spend time reading a text written by a true follower of the way. As each chapter unfolds, you can see how Jason Gregory has been through the process of learning how to trust, let go, and manifest Wu-Wei through his very being. It is only when the majority of books on the nature of Tao are once again written by followers of the way that Taoist literature will stop being so poor. It also interested me greatly to see how Jason expertly brings the teachings of Taoism through into the modern age. An exploration of the nature of society and how it has developed in direct opposition to the way of Tao is by no means a mere modernism. A discomfort with societal structure has always been present within Taoism throughout history, but few writers seem to pick up on this. When I engage with the writings of Lao-tzu, Zhuangzi, or indeed the vast majority of spiritual teachers around the world, I am confronted with radicals, misfits, and rebels. These are not prophets advocating the status quo. These are people who understood that stepping out of the structured nature of religion, society, and government was the only way to find some kind of personal liberation. What I learned from this is that only those who recognize the inherent sickness that pervades our societal structure will ever really be able to free themselves from the shackles of our societal paradigm. We are encouraged to live according to a narrative generated by a group of people who most certainly do not understand the concept of Wu-Wei, nor do they flow with the force of Tao. Rebellion is the natural inclination of many people who come to these conclusions. But in truth, rebellion itself is against the flow of Taoism, because it too is a form of governance based within the acquired aspect of human mind. The real answer lies once again in the simplicity of Wu-Wei, the act of letting go, and the trust that a new and spontaneous way of living will emerge. Effortless Living is an important book, one that demands a place within anyone's mind, and especially any follower of the Way's library of resources. In putting it together, Jason Gregory has undertaken a challenging task. One key reason that writing anything about Taoism is difficult is that the very tradition itself tells us right from early on in its key text that it is practically impossible to discuss the nature of Taoism. It is a tradition that essentially transcends the limited language of words, and yet at the same time, the medium of language is required if the tradition is to be passed on. This is a difficulty I have encountered when writing my own books. Often I am left scratching my head at the problem of putting into the written language a feeling or realization that comes from deep within the center of consciousness, an abstract sense of knowing that people have to reach themselves to truly connect with. Despite these difficulties and the experiential nature of the tradition, it is the language of words that points the way and sets a person's intention on the correct path. If I were to sit and consider how I would clearly and accurately put together a text describing the philosophical principle of Wu-Wei, I would certainly struggle. And yet, with this book, Jason Gregory has done an outstanding job of doing just that. In conclusion, I would like to add that I truly believe it is important that any author or teacher within an internal tradition be a sincere adherent of the philosophy. If such a person does not embody the teachings in his own life, then he is simply adding to the watering down of a timeless tradition, as well as leading readers and students into the proverbial wilderness. As my role as head of an internal arts school has developed, I have found myself in many situations where I am mixing with other teachers and writers. The first thing I am curious about is the level of authenticity I find within these people. In many cases, I am saddened to discover that they do not walk the path they are purporting to. Hypocrisy is an ugly human trait, and one that I have come to realize is